right, so I'm gonna tell this story, and I'm gonna tell a story about when I called you when I was in Costa Rica, because I called you because I just finished recording a podcast with Bobby, and I was absolutely blown away, not only by what he had to say, but how he went about saying what he had to say and how actually precise he was with his language, and how it built this level of trust that I had, and also what I felt in my body. I felt something in my body. It was like, I fucking trust this guy. Like, and I didn't know his whole platform. I didn't know everything, but I just trusted that he was the type of person that would really listen and move with integrity.
The existing political atmosphere of this country is not conducive to somebody with actual integrity, who's actually authentic. And like a lot of the things you said, like a good listener.
Yeah.
And someone who just, doesn't want to posture and doesn't try to figure out what people want to hear and then say that. Mm-hmm. He doesn't do politics as normal.
Right.
He's a man who's had humbling experiences in his life, tragedies and that I think have convinced him that he's no better than any other man.
Mm-hmm. And there's a part of this campaign that's a fight. And that's one thing about Bobby too, is like, he's a fighter.
He's a fighter, yeah.
He's willing to stand against and take all of the arrows and all of the shots and have people throwing all the rocks at him. And he's willing to stand and fight. And this campaign is a fight. Everybody, I've taken them, for coming out and making a stand. Every time I make a post, there's a volley of arrows and attacks, but also overwhelming support.
But I do see the possibility of a radical healing of the trauma that America suffered on November 22nd, 1963.
Yeah.
And the reconnection of the present to a past timeline that was truncated. Mm-hmm. At that moment. Because, 1963, America was at the peak of its power. Something like nearly half of all industrial production in the world was happening in this country.
Like telling a different story, from a platform where everybody listens. They can't censor a State of the Union address, and he delivers these speeches that really land and they hit somewhere in some people. That changes the world in and of itself. And that's why even in that reality, in that timeline where he doesn't win, but he gets in there and he's giving speeches and people are listening, like the story is shifting.
Yeah.
The story is changing. So it's not a binary win-loss. Well, if he doesn't win, we've failed. Every step he takes, every speech that he gives, every message that he transmits from the bigger platforms that he transmits, the better and closer we are to this new story that we're all trying to build.
And I'm saying if, not when, because it is a choice. Mm-hmm. And not only does he win, but what kind of Bobby, which version of Bobby wins? Right. What does the presidency look like? Okay, but the presidency look like? But I'm saying if he wins, it's not like things will be radically different in 5 years. In fact, on a superficial level, things may be worse. But what will be different is that we will have a sense that we have turned the corner. Mm-hmm. And that we've begun the return journey.
Yeah.
The return journey. We're back on the timeline that was truncated in 1963.